Hello and welcome to our presentation. We are the group Oldies, and in this video we are going to analyze two poems from minority literature from two great authors, Benjamin Zephaniah and Dennis Smith. But before we get into that, first we need to understand what minority literature is. Minority literature is a movement in literature toward the end of 20th century, which are represented by marginalized or oppressed gender groups such as women, gays and lesbians, and ethnic groups such as African Americans, Chicanos, Native Americans, and so on. In addition, this literature sometimes returns to more traditional narrative techniques and genre, often privileging socio-political messages over academic. Now that we know what minority literature is, our first poem that we are going to analyze is Differences by Dennis Smith. Once there was a boy who learned to sing, who then learned not to sing. Once there was a boy who heard another boy singing, then told him to stop. These are the same boy. This is every boy. Another story. Once a boy loved summer and so moved to the sun. Same story. Once a boy ran from winter but could not shake the dead trees. Same story. Once a boy stood in the woods until he became it. Same story. A boy is a tree. Same story. My mother cries whenever she sees a tree. Boy 1. We made love. Boy 2. I was experimenting. Boy 1. He loves me. Boy 2. He lives close. Boy 1. We have something between us. Boy 2. He is warmest inside. Boy 1. He's clean. Boy 2. I'm clean. Another story. Last week a bird flew into the window. He lived. But he will not fly hours later. I did with a rock what the Lord will not. Same story. Once I thought a bird knew flight with a stone. I made stranger wings. Answer. I do not love him. Answer. The curve of his shoulder at dusk. Answer. It helps to lie. Answer. Like the iron in your veins gathering to bullet. Answer. The pale yellow of his teeth. Answer. It was Thursday. Answer. My blues turn red when they hit the air. Answer. Yes, you're right. A night without questions is a night where everything is a gun. Someone killed a black boy and got away with it. I am the murderer, the victim, the evidence. Can't say I've never had my heart broken. Can't say my heart doesn't pump a broken formula. I have no equations for my new math, no addition for what in me multiplies. I was negative, he was negative. We made a positive thing.
Dan Smith is a black queer American poet. He is the author of the poetry collection Boy, which won the Lambda Literary Award for gay poetry and Don't Call Us Dead Poetry, a finalist for the 2017 National Book Award for Poetry. Smith is a founding member of Dark Noise Collective, with Fatima Ashgar, Franny Choi, Nate Marshall, Aaron Samuel, and Shamila Woods.
Analyzing the title, we can say that the poem will refer to how society sees queer community and how they react to the differences. The main theme in this poem is identity. However, we also found themes related to love and sadness. The poem makes us experiment with the main events and experiences of the author throughout his life. The style of the poem is a free verse because it doesn't rhyme and it doesn't follow a particular rhythm. It consists of 21 stanzas. Poetic devices. We found examples of metonymy such as the word singing referring to expression, the word summer referring to passion, the word winter which refers to coolness. Synesthesia. We found examples in the surf. My blues turn red when they hit the air. In this stanza, tactile imagery mixes with visual imagery. Imagery. They are vivid descriptions that evoke senses. Some examples found in the poem are: same story, my mother cries every time you see a tree. Somebody killed a black boy and got away with it. I am the murderer, the victim, the evidence.
This poem gives us reasons to believe that belongs to the queer theory movement. Queer theory seeks to understand and challenge the regimes of the normal. The poem shows us the struggle that a person has gone through just for being different. Queer theory attempts to articulate practices that might provide a means of destabilizing normative codes of gender and sexuality. The first stanza of the poem refers to people who learn how to accept and express what they are and, at the same time, learn how to express themselves, making us understand that queer people were repressed and judged by society who followed normative codes. The fourth and fifth stanzas state that people run away from the society that represses them and pursue a community that accepts who they are, emphasizing summer as the compassion community and winter as the community that rejected them. The eighth stanza makes us realize that even family can go against different people, reflecting their sadness for not finding support in their loved ones. The 18th stanza can teach us about how they can feel guilty and even punish themselves emotionally due to the viewpoints of normal people.
The poem itself leaves us evidence on how most of the people from the normal regiment can be apathetic towards queer community. Now we move on to the second poem, which is called Man to Man, from Benjamin Zephaniah.
Man to man. Macho man can't cook. Macho man can't sew. Macho man eats plenty of red meat. At home, him is king. From front garden to back garden, from the lift to the balcony, him a supreme master controller. Food must ready on time. Clothes must ready on time. Woman must ready on time. How macho can you go? Come, talk to me about sexuality. Come, meditate. Come, save the whale. Those bulging muscles need Tai Chi. Your drunken eyes herb tea. Come, relax. Macho man can't cook, sew, or wash him pants, but macho man is in full control.
Benjamin Zephaniah is a poet, novelist, and playwright. He was born on the 15th April 1958. He grew up in Jamaica and the Handsworth district of Birmingham, England, leaving school at 13 due to his dyslexia. He moved to London in 1979 and published his first poetry collection, Pen Reading, in 1980. He is blessed with a verbal musicality inspired by his Caribbean heritage. Zephaniah's work addressing global issues such as racism, animal cruelty, and social justice, shot through with a rich humor, drawing on rap and dance rhythms that make his poetry accessible to children and popular in school. He is also the patron of the East London-based anti-racist organization New Monetary Project. Analysis of the poem Man to Man. In this poem, the author uses free verse because it doesn't rhyme or have a regular rhythm, and it is formed by 4 stanzas. The first stanza has 11 lines. The second stanza has 7 lines. The third stanza has 7 lines. And the last stanza has 3 lines. Theme of the poem: The author used sacredness to condemn machismo. There is superiority between men and women. There is also alliteration because the repetition of the same sounds in the first stanza in lines 1, 3, and 5. Alliteration is typically used to convey a specific tone or message. In this literary work, we can find literary devices like metonymy, because the author presents the man as a king at home in stanza 1, line 7. Mood and tone of the poem. Its mood is cheerful and the poem's tone is satiric and ridicule, and condemn the machismo.
Man to Man is a poem written by Benjamin Zephaniah, and it is evident how a gender group, in this case women, is marginalized or oppressed. This piece of literature reveals the socially, psychologically, and economically operations of patriarchy. In fact, this poem shows how strong and superior men are in relation to women. In other words, there is a male dominance. In every domain where patriarchy reigns, woman is other. She is marginalized, defined only by her difference from male norms and values, clearly shown in the second stanza. What we get from the poem is that it tries to show us how the world is in relation to men and women roles, and at the same time its ultimate goal is to change the world by prompting gender equality, clearly shown in the third stanza. This poem was written in 1992 during the third wave feminism, early 1990s, 2000s. Influenced by the postmodernist movement in the academy, third-wave feminists sought to question, reclaim, and redefine the ideas, words, and media that have transmitted ideas about womanhood, gender, beauty, sexuality, femininity, and masculinity, among other things. This work seems to question or reject the traditional view of gender. That's why there is a part in which men are treated as ignorant, in the sense that there are other things to discuss or talk about, such as sexuality, meditation, saving animals, etc., and they are not ready to talk about these issues. There are some elements of the poem that can be perceived as being masculine, active, and powerful, for example in the first stanza and the fourth stanza, and feminine, passive, marginalized, for example in the second stanza, line 5 and 6.
To end with, we relate both poems with the word marginalized, as both queer community and women are treated in a disrespectfully and unequal way. We hope you like our analysis and stay safe.